I would like to begin with a quotation by Frank E. Victor, and he says that no man should judge unless he has asked himself in absolute honesty that in such a similar situation he might not have done the same thing. This is from his book, Man's Search for Meaning. And I would like to say that the act of judging or judgment is a very dangerous and a risky adventure for any human person to embark on. And there are several reasons as to why this is the case. First, the act of judging is God's prerogative. In other words, the act of judgment belongs to God, properly speaking. And that is why the psalmist in Psalm 75 says that judgment does not come from the east or from the west, from the north or from the south. It is God who does the judging, putting some down and lifting others up. And again, James chapter 4 verse 12, the holy man says that God is the lawgiver and the judge. He has the power to save and to destroy. Who therefore are you to judge your neighbor or to judge your brother or your sister? The second reason why the act of judgment is a very risky and a dangerous adventure is because of the problem of knowledge. Every correct and true judgment needs knowledge. And by knowledge, I'm not talking about opinions, beliefs, or suspicions. I'm talking about knowledge in the straightest sense of the term. And if we consider this, you and I know, at least from our experience in life and from our philosophical years, that the problem of knowledge is a perennial one. It is the reason why the debate between the epistemologists and the skeptics will go on from now to the crack of dawn. It is the reason why, if you go through the pages of Plato's dialogue, hardly will you find a book in which a definitive answer is given to a subject matter which is discussed in any of his books. At best, what he gives is his own opinion, hoping that in generations to come, people will add their own input. Despite all these, it's as if we have been gifted with some sort of infinite potential ability to do what is wrong. We still prefer to take judgment into our hands, to castigate our neighbors, to judge our brothers and our sisters. The problem here is that when we do that, there are some implications that come with it. And one implication is that when we do that, taking judgment into our hands, we resemble Satan the more, who being portrayed in Isaiah chapter 14, verses 13 and 14, says to himself, I will ascend high above the skies. I will set my throne there, and I shall be like the Most High, although he is a fallen angel. And that is what we become. Instead of resembling God the Father, by taking judgment into our own hands to castigate people, we tell ourselves that we want to resemble Lucifer. But we can do more than that. Today, St. Paul is telling us, wait, be patient, and let God's revelation take place. You may then ask me, what about those in authorities who has to give judgment to their subjects or people who are subject to them? And I will say to you that, in fact, their positions is more perilous. And our constitution, the rule of St. Augustine even says that. That is chapter 7. It says that the higher positions are the more perilous. This is even evidenced in the Old Testament. And to that, the psalmist says in Psalm 72, he says, Lord, teach the king to judge with your righteousness, God. Share with him your own justice, so that he may rule your people with justice and govern the poor with righteousness. This helps us to understand that those in higher positions or those in authoritative positions are in a more perilous state, because each day and each time they must do what is according to the will of God. They must judge according to the interest of God. And what do they need from us? Our constant prayer for them. So those in civic authorities, those in religious authorities, those in authorities in the religious settings and in the civic settings are in more or in need of our prayers. So instead of spending our time judging our neighbors when we know that we do not have the accurate knowledge, when we should know that judgment belongs to God, why don't we use the time to offer prayers for those who are in higher position, so that every judgment they will make, it will be according to the will of God. So today, what is the simple message for us? Paul is telling us, wait for the Lord's day, who will reveal everything that has been hidden in the darkness. So let us be patient enough with ourselves, not to deceive ourselves to thinking that we are perfect. Be patient enough with ourselves, not to delude ourselves that we have reached a position where we can castigate and judge our fellow brothers and sisters. Be patient enough with ourselves to want the good for ourselves. And may the Lord, whose word we have heard this evening, help us to live this call through Christ our Lord.